Welcome back to America. This is Hunter. We're delighted for this session, this recording, to have Dr. Flo with us, and this is her first time with the being a part of the Hunter Chronicles. So, Dr. Flo, we welcome you to the Hunter Chronicles.
Thank you, Hunter. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you made the cut.
Mm,
You moved for the
that
badass talk
sounds
to.
good.
Yeah, you made the cut, dear. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good sound and
Yes,
thought.
yeah.
That
So,
sounds good.
yeah. We last heard from you. We were talking with you as part of the uh, uh, Back to America Badass Talks, and so we were glad that you were able to share with us and be a part of that. So now we're in Hunter Chronicles, and we're doing we're getting at more in depth around our characters and our stories, our lives, and what's going on with us. So um, I know you've been reading some of the blogs that I've been sending you, and I just like to let you first kind of talk about um, any questions or just how's that material coming for you?
Let's see. Well, I've been having blog envy, for one.
What the hell is that?
Blog envy is what happens to an aspiring blogger who has yet to put pen to paper.
Mm,
Um, and I've been reading the blogs that you've written
mhm,
with blog envy and with also with an eye towards the other books that we have been
mm,
talking about,
mhm,
and and also just thinking about how I can share my voice and contribute.
okay. Hmm. Say more. Can you say more?
Well, I tend to think of myself as more of a follower than a leader.
Mhm,
I don't like the word follower, so I wish there was another word.
mhm,
Um, because I'd like to be a collaborator, I suppose.
mhm,
And um, but I like to follow along. I like things to be in harmony, and so in my need for harmony, I have been um, attempting to get on the same page with you, Hunter, in your thinking so that I can produce things that are similar to yours.
mm, mm. When you say my thinking, um, so one of the things we talked about is the fact that I want to come from the heart and our feelings around, and that's one of the things we want to, in terms of distinguishing the Hunter Chronicles from the Badass Talks,
Mm.
is just getting real around what we're feeling, and not so much about what our thoughts are, just what do we feel? How do we feel? And how do we experience um, this journey? How do we experience this work we're doing? Period. Right? I say period, right or wrong. We're in a different space. I'd say that's my first response. So, can you share any feelings about anything? Having clarified that, any of the things that I've shared with you in the blogs that surface any feelings for you around your story and where your experiences, any of the in at the feeling level, we put that blog envy stuff up aside and just what so let me ask maybe this way to ask a question. um is there is there a block? You say blog envy, but is there something blocking Do you feel something is blocking you? Might be blocking you
Yes.
for. Okay, all right. And
Yes. And
can you say more about?
I
You
think
think?
it relates to the feelings.
Okay.
I think there's a I think if you dig a bit here, there's a relationship between the block and the feelings.
Mm.
I was imagining that I would be speaking to Flo today, not Dr. Flo, but Flo, and I was imagining that I would be speaking to Flo's experience of transforming into Dr. Flo, but more the experiential of that, like the feelings of it.
Why don't we do this? Let's you've shared a fair amount, a good amount on the in the badass talks about flow, but for the audience, maybe first time connecting with you, Dr. Flo. Um, this character you refer to as Flo. Um, why don't you share some about what's her story? Since you say you're imagining, what's her story? What's Flo's story?
I would love to share that. Where would that start?
Start with your earliest you imagine Flo, your earliest recollection of her as a part of you.
Okay, well that is easy.
Let,
That's easy. But what were you gonna say?
no, go right ahead. Jump right in.
Flo's earliest first memory of Flo as a part of me is my first memory, and in my first memory, um, I could tell you the story of that. I, if I put myself back in it, I could become very emotional. Um, I usually cut off the emotions to talk about this. Um, my first memory, which is Flo's first memory, my first memory of Flo as a part, is my parents had divorced, and my mother had moved me from California, where my father lived, to Louisiana, where her brother lives. And I, my father came to visit me, and it was one of the two times he came to visit me uh, prior to age 14. And I was 4. And I remember him buckling me into my car seat in the back of my mom's car. And I was having my very first panic attack. And I was just beside myself with despair because he was leaving. And that that abandonment pain and that separation right there was the birth of Flo.
What does that mean? That was the birth of Flow. Can you,
If Flo is the energy,
okay, got it.
then that was a defining and very critical
Mm.
event that it's a I
I like the word energy. That's good.
mm,
Thank you. That's good.
mhm mhm
I get that. Mm-hmm.
mhm
Run with that. Run with that. Yeah.
um so if it flows the energy, then like I'm having all these pictures come into my mind right now. rather than language, which is pretty atypical for me. So it's interesting. Uh, I'm seeing like pictures of the movie like Superman and in the Crystal Castle or something like as if that was my the moment when my UFO touched down on Earth, like
Hmm.
um, like the defining aspects of my personality laid down by that
Hmm.
experience. Like
Hmm.
my my what's that stuff? I can never remember that Superman's kryptonite. My
Hmm.
kryptonite was developed in my first memory.
Hmm. And you use that term. Kryptonite was that which was served to render Superman, um, impotent. I mean, it made him weak,
Yes.
and and so you're using that term here. How? I mean, I'm trying to connect how you're connecting kryptonite in this moment. Trying to follow you there.
My the experience and the way that my particular mind and the energy that was me, the way
Mm-hmm.
that the energy that was me, that is
Okay.
me,
Right.
um, that moment in time created what I would consider my powerlessness, like my my weakness, my
Okay. Okay. Got it.
vulnerability.
Hold on a minute. That was you said this was at age 4. Can you travel forward from that experience? Just if you're kind of on a linear kind of timeline, can you think of some other early experiences of that energy, that if you will, flowic energy? Um,
Yes, I'm having flashes of images of events, experiences,
mhm.
and I'm not sure if they're dreams or if they
Mm.
really happened or if I
Okay.
was told about them or if
Mhm.
they're
Mhm.
it's like snippets of pictures. Um, I
Whatever you see, how do you feel? How does it make? How Can
oh,
you?
yeah,
How,
I feel disgust and anxiety like
mhm.
the dis it's not disgust as much as it is the nausea that comes with fear
Mhm.
and fear of pain, like not like empty void loneliness, um
Mhm.
lost, uh alone, um left is left behind.
Mhm. What is there what given what you're seeing, what's occurring to you, what you're kind of visioning? Um, where are you? What time is it? What age is it? Where is there? I mean, we move from 4. Where is this experience happening at, or where are these experiences happening at? Where are you in life?
I'm I can see myself in the apartment that I lived in with my mom and with my grandmother who joined my mother to care for me.
Mm. And what age is that?
I was I was still a 4, maybe 5,
Okay, yeah, you're still there.
and I can see myself. I think this is a picture of me, but looking outside of the window, I think my dad had come to visit again, and I I I see a bunch of boxes in a room. They looked really tall. Everything looked really big, and I was really small. Um, I have these images of the school I attended from age 3 to 11,
Mm,
and the 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 just the I see the classrooms and the being dropped off at
mm,
the classrooms, and then and the uh just the dread of being left, dropped
mm,
off.
mm,
um the sense of it's like grasping, trying to find my place in the classroom with my peers, and so often feeling like I didn't belong there.
Is there a reason why you felt that way?
um
Did something happen to make you? Was there an incident? Was there something?
um Incidents later perhaps, but more is the sense that there was something amiss about who I was, who flow the energy of flow did not mix well.
Mm,
uh like I was missing something, missing some kind of information, missing some sort of um missing out on the rules. Like I wasn't I wasn't aware that there were rules, and so I was lost, confused, impaired.
mm,
um but it's like a million little incidents. Nothing as big stands out as that memory.
mm,
um I can't tell a concrete story right this moment
mm,
about this, other than that I felt outside of the group frequently in my own. Like there was a rocket ship in my first grade classroom, and if you d- did said behaviors and received certain reward, if you got enough stars or something, you could go into this rocket ship and be by yourself and read your book. And
mm,
that was a very big reward to me. I would I remember wanting to go into that rocket ship.
mm. Did you get to go?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have gone enough to satisfy me.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, but you remember that? Yeah. So when that happened, you must have found the rules, or you must have done something right. Do you remember what you did right to get to go in the rocket ship?
Not at all.
Mm. But
I
you just remember,
remember,
you remember being in the rocket ship. Mm.
yeah, I remember getting in trouble a lot.
So you
I
were in the rocket ship.
took It took me a long time to figure the rules out,
Mm.
but I knew the academic rules were I was good with the academic rules. So there must have been some academic rules that I, or like some kind of, you know, spell this many words right and you can go in the rocket ship. So I don't know that it was good behavior I got to the rocket ship for. My behavior wasn't necessarily good.
So this is we're talking with Dr. Flo, and talking about young Dr. Flo here, and and if I'm tracking with you, um, young Dr. Flo, as early as age 3, had this energy of a part, of being a part, of another part of you, that there's another part to you. Is that right? You know, as early as 3, and then so this the staying with what you were saying about the rocket ship, and rewards for that, for figuring out the rules and good behavior. So that's what that's how that's what life was like for young Dr. Flo, the child Dr. Flo. Was Flo a bad girl? Even then, was did Flo keep you from getting to go on the rocket ship? What was Flo's? If talking about
Mm.
the Dr. Flo, the child, the little girl, what was her what was Flo's relationship to Dr. Flo, the little girl? What was that relationship like? Can you talk about that?
What was
The
what was?
relation.
Go ahead.
It, of course, now we're you're traveling back, so you're talking about you as a little girl, and we're saying that's Dr. Flo is a little girl, but you spoke of this energy from as early as age 3 that you that you this energy that you consider to be Flo, and I'm just asking the
Yes.
question:
Mm.
was
Mm.
and as you think about rewards and being rewarded for good behavior, following the rules, getting to do things like sit in this rocket ship and read your book. So that's all for you, the little girl, um, Dr. Flo. What where was this flow part at times like that? Where was Flo? What was her?
Well,
How does she factor into the equation?
I guess I'm I'm having I'm I'm wondering how to see it, the parts, because I can I'm I can stand outside of flow, the energy. I can sit in the car with flow, the energy, and look at her. And even in the midst of her panic, she was throwing a fit. Like she was not having a panic attack and just having a couple of tears, or just sitting quietly, and like she was full on busting out of that car seat,
Mhm.
like trying uh, to the best of a 3 4 year old's ability to demand that her father not leave. That's what she was trying to do. Like she was protesting. And um i'm I'm curious about these parts, because it would appear that perhaps there's a couple of parts there. There is a there's the flow who's affected by the energy. The energy of flow is there, and the different ways in which that energy developed into the different parts is curious.
This remembrance of the car seat incident, and you're saying you were a little girl then, uh, but even as early as this as 3, you this is you're seeing this event, recalling this event, remembering this event. You're describing it as Flo in this car seat and how she felt. Am I understanding that you, as a little girl, in at the time, could see this part that was different than you?
Yes.
Mm, wow, it's awesome. I remember having um, having stuffed animals or things. I gave names to uh, objects. Like a teddy bear or something. Um, and I think that was a part that was me dealing with a part early on in life, but not knowing about parts or characters or anything else. So I just knew that I I guess imaginary friends and things like that. But I wasn't able to articulate that in the way that you are, Dr. Flo, able to articulate another part of yourself. That's pretty. I just because I wasn't. I ain't have it like that.
Mm.
I didn't have it. So I think that's pretty awesome. Um, the, so going forward, the other thing you said about the school that you went to till you're 11, or is that right?
Yes,
To age
yes.
11. So does some other, since you were able to localize there, are there some other um, early incidents that took place in that environment? You know, you're at that place. You talked about the apartment where your grandmother and you and your mother lived in that school. Are there other incidents that come to mind that you can, something that you remember, recall, recollect that about Flo during that time?
Yes. So I'm getting in touch with multiple parts of Flow, or just parts that maybe others besides Flow. But it's not
That's
clear.
cool.
But there's just these moments of standing alone, like looking at a group and feeling not a part of it, even though in theory I was. Or um, um, there's there's other parts that were there too. There's the parts that did not protest, the parts that like the selectively mute part, the part that's quiet, and that's the part that I think is blocked in the writing. So but there they have some communion with one another. So there's the part there's these different protector parts,
Mhm.
because when Flo opens her mouth and protests that, or protests or makes a request, let's just start with that, expresses a need, that would often be followed by um, a shaming or a criticism. And but if Flo got in touch with the part that protests, the part that rages, that part was more likely to accomplish the goal. The goal wouldn't necessarily be closeness, intimacy, or friendship, but it would be you're not leaving me. Like, you will stay here with me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
refuse to be alone. So it's almost like there's a part, if I and
Mm-hmm.
Flow, the one who rages, the one who demands,
Mm-hmm.
the one who bullies, and then Flow's other parts, or protectors, or managers, or exiles, the ones that try to take care of Flo or keep her from, because that doesn't always end well for Flo when she will become aggressive. So there's the parts that try to shut it down, try to shut her up,
Mm-hmm.
keep her quiet, and the parts who are there's a part that's a coward.
How's that?
Um, it's the one that's been the one that's they can't get that the one whose voice doesn't matter, the one who doesn't matter how much she screams, nobody's coming. Like it doesn't work.
Hmm.
But it's hard to differentiate the parts. But it, there's multiple ones.
Mhm. And these, just make sure I'm clear tracking, but you are able to differentiate these parts from the little girl, Dr. Flo. This is not, we're not talking about the little girl, Dr. Flo. We're talking about Flo, the part Flo, and the part of the character Flo. Is that right? Is that, do you,
Yes.
okay. That,
Yes, I'm only aware of well,
mhm.
there's three parts in the car seat.
Okay. That's good.
And then parts were added over time.
So why don't we pause there, and so we're because you have that firmly locked in. So why don't we pause there? If you're, can we pause there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's pause there, and let's resume the conversation next time with the car seat and the three parts. The events in your life, your school, you've kind of locked into a context. I want to continue to come forward out of, but I just wanted to make sure I was understanding, or we're on the same page, that you can differentiate these parts from just you, Dr. Flo, as a little girl, and that's really significant. That's awesome that you. I mean, I couldn't do that. I take my hat off to you in terms of being there. So we'll just pick that up, and if if that comes to mind, and you give that some thought, and just see how we come from there. In the meantime, if you would look at the blogs, up the the other blogs, and look at the material, and of course we'll be doing some other work together, and we'll just go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
In fact, what calendar-wise, just as we look at bringing this to a close, do we have our next time down? Do we decide on when we're gonna get together again?
I don't think so. Not other than our
Yeah,
viewing.
let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Next week is out, so why don't we get back on? I know you had things going on with you. I didn't. What about Saturday the 22nd? Is that part? Were you out? Was there something going on with you then?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
That ought to
so
work.
yeah, so we're because we're going to be next week and we're out. So we got this. We got that. We have to So yeah, let's plan for our next the 22nd. Sound good?
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And
yes.
to the Rector America audience, this is the Hunter Chronicles, and we're delighted to have Dr. Flo with us. And if you like what you're hearing here, we'd ask you to support us by going over to movietheworld.us, movietheworld.us, and look at the work that we're doing there in the community and working with contractors. And that's how we fund and support this work. So if you can do some business with us there, that'll keep it flowing. No pun intended. Keep things flowing. No. All right. But Dr. Flo, thank you for your sharing today and being part of the Hunter Chronicles. We're glad that
Thank
you're
you,
on board.
Hunter.
And we look forward to being with you soon. You stay safe and be well. Okay.
You too. Thank you so much.
Love to you. Be good.
Love to you.
Be good to yourself. All right. We'll talk to you
Thank you
soon.
too.
Be well.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.